We are learning Python data structures with Flet. Currently, we have our character called Corey, and let's review the code. Flet is a UI. So we have a list. We're learning Python data structures, an empty list, and then each time through the iteration of this for loop, we append a new version of Corey. So the Corey is just an image here. That is a Flet image, and we're just adding it to the list. And this little thing here is a deconstructor where we change the elements of the list into individual elements. Okay, so since Corey is not in a row, he's taking up a lot of space here. So what we'll do is we will add Corey to row, and the row accepts a list. So we can just do ft.row, and so we're adding the row to the page, and then we've got Corey. And now we have Corey that's in a row. Our objective is to practice data structures. So I'm going to comment this out. I'm doing command and the slash on the Mac. I now have no Corys because the list is empty, and this is the list right here. We're going to use a different type of list called a list comprehension. And you may have heard of it, and it may be scary, but let's just start off with what we want in the list. We want Corey to be in the list. So we're doing create Corey, and Corey will be created right here. And then we're going to use a kind of a for loop, but it's right in the list itself. We're not going to use the iterator or the variable from the for loop. So in range, let's say, maybe I'll go big since we have more space for Corey. So Corey comes back with 8 Corys here because of this range. This underscore here just means that we're not going to use the variable. We could have done the same thing here in the for loop. We use for underscore in range 5 because we're not using the variable I. This is 100% the same functionality. It just keeps it on one line. And although the writing may be a little bit confusing, you might also see it in someone else's code, or you might want to have your code be shorter. And you get used to it. So especially with this type of nice syntax highlighting, you can easily see the for loop here, and it's just a little bit reversed. But once you get used to it, there's no problem. Okay, we're going to use another variable definition. So we're going to create a variable that I'm just going to call spacing, and I'm going to use, which is not needed, but this is just to practice the type hints, will be ft container. And then let's create a container, ft.container. And we'll give it a width of maybe, let's say, 100. And I'll make a container of the height of, let's say, maybe 200. Okay, so I have a container here. The container is empty, so it should be invisible. And the purpose of the tutorial is to practice Python list manipulation. So we're going to do practice Corys, the name of our list right there. We're going to use the standard Python insert. So the insert takes 2 parameters. The first one is the element of the array, or the element of the list. Okay, and then I'm going to insert the spacing. So this doesn't overwrite the 0. So we should still have 8 Corys at this point. I'm going to press space or save, and because I'm using Flet run and not Python main, it has automatic hot reload. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 Corys. I didn't overwrite it. I just inserted it as the first variable. So if you have a smaller number of queries here, you can see. And you're wondering, okay, how does this container work? Well, maybe I'll just color it briefly. So if I go background color on the spacing, and I'm going to call it blue. Let's see, right there. And if I save it, you'll see that there's a container here which is invisible and it's centered here and it's blue. But I'm going to delete this color blue right there so that we have it as an invisible spacing. We've already got the list comprehension down, but maybe we'll practice it one more time. I'm using this site called picsome.photos, which you can use to get placeholder photos. And there's a URL here for a static image. So I'm going to copy the static image into my clipboard, and I'll put def function definition create image, and this will also be the same thing. It's good to repeat things so that we start to understand. So I'm going to return ft image, and in this case, it's going to be the URL, and I'm going to set the URL here to be, maybe I'll make it small too. So I'll go 80 by 80. Okay, so now we have another function here that will create and return a random image from Lorem Picsome or picsome.photos. And we will add the photo. And it's right there. Okay, let's go back to our create image function. We've done a great job at creating two different functions with somewhat similar functionality, but this one is coming from the network, so you gained that skill, and we're going to change it more so that it can accept a parameter. So we'll have it accept a parameter, seed, and we'll have it be type integer. Again, this colon and int is just the optional type definition. You don't really need it, okay? But we're using it to their clarity. I'm going to put an F in front of the string. So now it'll be called an F string in Python. And now we can have it take the variable, the parameter is passed in seed, and it'll be seed there. And now for the create image, we can pass it maybe like a 1 as the random seed, and we have a different image here. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to practice using the list comprehension again. Okay, so we're going to call it images. Maybe you can figure it out even before I do it, right? Okay, so what do we have here? We have the thing that we want in the list, and that is the create. So we want an image, so we're going to do create image. Beautiful. Same convention, but there's a difference here. For I, how about for seed in range 4? Now we pass it in the seed. And instead of the create image here, so we now have a list of images, right? So it's a list comprehension, it's a list. Now ft.row, and this will accept a list. So we can pass it the list of images. Okay. And there's some duplication here. So I think I'm just going to multiply the seed times, let's say 5. And then we have a wider rarity. And actually the image like this is a bit small. So I will increase the size maybe even 120. A little easier to read. And I can probably fit another one on here. I'll go 5. And now we have, oh, that's the wrong one. That's Corey. Okay, here. This is the images. We go 5. And now there's 5 images and 5 Corys. Beautiful, huh? But it looks like you can put a second row here. So let's just copy this. And we'll call it images 2. We'll change the seed multiplier maybe to something like 8. So there'll be a different seed. And we will add another row, page.add ft.row. And it will be images 2. Images 2. And this one is coming up duplicate. Okay, let's try to first range is 0, so the seed is likely going to be 0, right? So it's the same seed, but maybe we can just make it be a bit different, and we will add plus maybe some random number like 3, and we'll see whether it's any better. And now we have 10 different complete images, and it looks good. Very nice. That shows you that the first element of the list is a 0, and so the seed was the same. So kind of a good lesson. Congratulations on blazing through the basic Python course. You're now dealing with manipulation of data structures. We have a rather complex topic called the list comprehension. Although it sounds kind of confusing, comprehension, what do you mean comprehend a list? Okay, there's 2 components. There's the thing you want to drop into the list right here. So in our model, we're dropping in Corey, right? And then over here, you have a for loop, and it runs the for loop. This is no variable. Like we're using this underscore as the name of the variable. By convention means that you're not going to use it. And it's range 5, so it's going to create 5 Corys. And that's what we have right there. Beautiful. We also learned the insert into a list. A list is one of the basic data structures of Python, and we're using Corys.insert at the index 0 that you want. And then we're adding the spacing, which is a custom object that we created to use an invisible container as the spacing. But the main concept is insert 0, and then the thing that you want to insert into the list at that point. It could be any index. We're going to then define a function with a parameter as the input to the function. So these two are different in that the second function that we created does take a parameter that is an integer. And we're using that integer seed right there. That's the name of the parameter. We're then sticking it right there. We're able to do this because of the f string, which does the string interpolation. So it's going to replace the value here in the string with the name of the parameter right there. And the last thing that is, of course, this is a networked image, super common to use in your Python code. And this is one simple way to do it with Flet. So you can grab a network image, and it's kind of exciting because we've got 10 of them down here. You can make it bigger, you could change the parameters. So congratulations on getting this far. Join our 100% free course to get more lessons, slides, code examples. See you at industry-python.thinkific.com.